Good morning, everyone. If we can start finding our seats, it is actually a little after 11:30. I know we're probably gonna have some more people straggling in late because I'm super organized and forgot to tell people the program started at 11:30, but the doors actually opened early. Today is a very special day for me. We started this event 5 years ago, almost 5 years to the date, actually. And it is all based off of a photo essay that I published in January 2021. This book helped me survive the world shutting down through COVID. It is a photo essay, so it's not your traditional book. It is going to follow the thread for the event today. So it is broken into, for lack of a better term, 3 chapters. If you all have your program, you will see the titles. They don't quite line up perfectly with the book because I probably should have looked at the book before I made this, but that would require forethought. But I'm going to give you a brief explanation of what the section is, and then I will invite our artist speakers to come up and present their work. I ask that you please go ahead and turn off your cell phones and anything else that makes noise, just because we want to respect them. I'm also excited, this is the first year I'm not actually a part of the program. Last year we switched it to a more art-focused, because I wanted to give people the opportunity to share their stories, and this felt like a good way to do it outside of just the podcast. So without further ado, we are going to start with our identity stone, which in the book is the Hello, My Name Is, based off of the project of the same name. It's that period in your time when you kind of lose who you are. In the stages of recovery, the first stage is called the impact of illness, and it's when you get that first diagnosis and suddenly you're no longer who you thought you were. So without further ado, we have our first speaker, Ms. Karen Thompson, who will be presenting Husband Stitch. Karen?
Thank you. I am so honored to have found all of you. I've been looking for you. I am in a lifelong recovery of being too nice to everybody but myself. And I'm sure a lot of you, especially if you're born in the South and a woman, you understand that. So I was born in the late 50s and grew up, in the 70s when women weren't really valued. And to top it off, my dad was a school teacher and they had 5 kids, and I think that he thought we were his classroom. So when we sat down to eat, it was be quiet and eat. They never checked in with us. I was invisible. I didn't feel like I had an identity at all. I would climb trees and identified with the trees. I would go out to my neighbor's muscadine vines and pick all the muscadines I wanted because they loved me. And I identified with plants. I identified with swinging on the rope swing. And the best thing my parents did to me, I was raised in a traumatic household because we weren't allowed to talk, laugh, cry. So today I cry all I want to. My friend calls them liquid tears, or liquid prayers, and I call them liquid trauma escape or liquid happiness, but everything comes out in tears for me. So this is a self-portrait. This is me when I first had my first child, and at that time I was not valued even by my husband. Of course, I went from a home that didn't value me to a husband because I was trying to escape that home. And it's called the Husband Stitch, and it's on the mouth because my speech was not valued, my words were not valued. The good thing my parents gave me was, first of all, they had a big yard and I could get out in the yard and get out of the house. But the second thing is they were both artists. And so they've really offered me all the art supplies I wanted and they loved what I painted. So that was how my first identity was an artist. And I have painted my life. I've painted my way through life. I always do better when I'm expressing myself because words are hard, but there's color and there's paintbrush. I went to see the Frida Kahlo ballet last night, and I so related to her. In her pain, she was handed a paintbrush, and she worked through her trauma on the canvas. And that's what I do. That's what I teach in art classes, is how to get yourself out on the canvas, because you can come to a canvas and ask it what wants to happen. How can I see this as a mirror and express myself? So there's a lot of color in this. I mean, to me, it's like tears because it's so much dripping. She's sad, but today I'm grateful for everything that she went through. I would not trade it for anything, because now I'm able to help people who've been through those same things and grew up in a home or an environment where you were not valued as for who you are. And so I'm still working on finding my identity. I don't think I can ever, it shifts all the time, but I'm just grateful that I can claim that I'm in recovery, and I will be in recovery the rest of my life. And I'm grateful for this community. So thank you for witnessing me.
Thank you, Karen, for having the courage and bravery to share your story, especially something so personal. Next, we have Elizabeth Garcia, who will be doing Age of Despair, Age of Renewal. Yeah, I'm sorry. My brain hurts and words are hard. Come on.
Thank you. I'm not really an artist. I am a poet. I met Heather at a reading several weeks ago, and I hadn't even written this yet, but I was working on it, and I knew that this is something that I wanted to share. So if you'll bear with me, this used to be 16 pages, and I pared it down a lot for this audience. So bear with me as I read it, but you'll kind of see how this all ties together. The Arab term is Sin al-Yas, the age of despair or age of hopelessness. In the Netherlands, they call it Overgangsalder, or the transition. In Japan, the term is Konenki, age of renewal. In the Western world, relying on Greek, the Greek term men for month, and pausis for stop or cease, it's known as menopause. In the spirit of John Koenig's Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, which I've been reading lately, and if you don't know about that, you should look it up. It's a really beautiful little compilation, in which he creates new terms for more nuanced emotions, I have created some terms I'd like to add to the lexicon. 1, menastrophe, from men monthly, atrophy, a wasting away, and astro, star. The feeling that your mind at middle age is beginning to atrophy, that you look up at the night sky and wonder if it still speaks to you. Some of my recent journal entries. February 8th. I've been struggling the last few days with feeling like an automaton, depressed about how my life is organized in a way that I have to divide my time into small chunks, which means I do just the surface, like I live on the surface of my life, like a water bug. There's meaning below in the down deep, but I'm skating up here between duties, and I can't be a writer if I can't think like one. Friday night, I prayed desperately for some kind of help to not feel that way. February 17th. When I'm alone with my thoughts before God, there is an apparition of my own doubt sitting next to me, eavesdropping. When I think of sitting down to write, it will be there, brooding, and I won't be able to move. All my words will be dull and stupid, pointless. I have nothing worth saying. No one wants to hear it. When did he get here? How did I let him in to follow me around? Is there any surprise the figure is male? I'm wearing a lead suit. April 10th. The James Webb Telescope captured photos of the Cranium Nebula, so called because it looks like two halves of a skull. It's a photo of a dying star, or the dying star's mind. In its end stage, it has run out of fuel. It's shedding its outer layer, an exoskeleton of hydrogen gas. Will it explode in a massive supernova, or continue to strip off its hot layers, like our sun leaving behind a small white dwarf? From menopause.org FAQ. I'm feeling hopeless, having difficulty concentrating and remembering or making decisions, have lost interest in hobbies and activities I used to enjoy, and I'm having difficulty sleeping and waking up. Is this depression? Translation. What is the word for what I'm experiencing? If I find the right word, will it make it legitimate? Will it mean I'm not crazy? Will it mean I'm not alone? And if it's common, does it become something that no longer merits writing about in this way? 2. Climacterophobia. From climacteric period, a medieval medical term for menopausal age, and phobia, the fear of reaching perimenopause and being put in an asylum. April 8th. I read Mary Ruefle's poem Pause by candlelight in the bathtub, barely making out the letters. Declining vision is not romantic, nor migraines, hence the low light in the bath. There's a photo of her notebook page called April's Cryologue. It lists every day she cries and how many times a day. It reads like a nurse's chart. C times 3, C times 2, CCC, CCC, CCC. Her last note. April has 58 days, after which it can't go on. She dismisses the media's focus on hot flashes, reminds us that the cause of admittance to any 19th century asylum for all women over 40 is listed as cessation of menses. In other words, you go crazy. That the female body has long been pathologized and linked to mental instability in the Western tradition, e.g., hysteria is linked to the uterus, is not new to many of us. Aristotle believed that menstrual blood was venomous. One French doctor in 1585, adopting one of the primary theories of the time, argued that if a woman's menses were suppressed, then vicious humors from the uterus would result and cause vapors in the bloodstream, leading to women becoming stupid, irrational, cry all the time, or made them think the devil was trying to strangle them. That the anxieties and moods women must navigate are inextricably linked to a necessary universal reproductive cycle somehow creates a universal caveat, like a footnote, for any subsequent cognitive experience. To connect it with your cycle makes the feeling, the mental experience, less real, not just for the male onlooker, but for the woman herself. To question one's own mind, to constantly not take yourself seriously. Is what I'm feeling real? It's as if real can only be defined as such if it's permanent, that anything cyclical is less real. Are the tides not real? The pole of the moon on the rivers of your body? April 11th. Artemis II just returned from a trip around the moon, getting views of its dark side with enhanced imaging we've never seen before. In 1969, we made the unknown knowable. Instead of cheese, it was a big, gray, dusty rock. In all our pictures, it hung in the background like a shy cousin with a ghostly pallor. Does the moon still hold me, even if the ocean in me no longer rises when it enters my room like a blessing of blue? Is it enough that my eyes still look up, penitent? In Lisa Mosconi's definitive work, The Menopause Brain, published in 2024, just 2 years ago, she lays out the spotty and unreliable history of studies on the female brain. Her first chapter is titled, You Are Not Crazy. Incidentally, even into the 1990s, decades of brain research was based on the male brain because women of childbearing age weren't allowed to participate in clinical trials. This means for my entire adult life, doctors have given advice based on the premise that the male standard is universal. Our brains have been mansplained forever. Mosconi deftly explains what's happening in the brain in layman's, women's terms. The HPG, hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis, is the neurologic pathway connecting the brain and reproductive organs. It controls the production of FSH and LH and estradiol, which decline in a woman's late 40s. Because estradiol impacts cell growth, immune system, brain plasticity, serotonin levels, and metabolism of glucose, its reduction leads to a breaking down of cells and loss of brain connections. It affects the hippocampus, or memory center, and leads to melancholia, irregular heartbeat, digestive issues, depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. When I see the image comparing 3 brain scans, premenopausal, perimenopausal, and postmenopausal, the white matter slowly growing like cauliflower, which indicates a 30% drop in brain energy between age 43 and 51, I want to cry. I don't miss the eggs, but the brain cells, I'm literally losing my mind. 3. A plethora. From plethora, an archaic word for menstruation, and Freude, German for joy. The joy you feel when you no longer have to worry about accidentally getting pregnant, and you have many years left of another kind of creative capacity. You are just a girl on the edge of a great forest, Mary Ruefle says in her poem, Pause. I feel the forest's fairy tale darkness. That darkness is the lack of words, the lack of light, what used to fill you when the words enter you from somewhere outside yourself. To enter the forest is to get lost. That's what all the old stories say. You can take pebbles with you, but you'll run out. You'll wear out your shoes from walking. And who will you meet? An old woman who's hungry enough to devour the girl she used to be? But what if it's not that forest? What if it's the one where there's a little abandoned cottage and a magic school of thread? Or some oracle with riddles, and after all the ridiculous tasks, something shining as a reward? What if it's that story? Despite the years in which transitioning women might question their insanity, recent studies have revealed more hopeful evidence that as the brain is losing some of its gray matter, it is recuperating and growing in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for executive function, for wisdom. While a woman's brain during pregnancy was strengthening the reactive amygdala to build instinctual knowledge for parenting, the postmenopausal restructuring shifts the brain's activity to the less reactive area, leading to the capacity for greater patience. Both cognitive and emotional empathy increase. And although 60% of menopausal women experience brain fog, their brains rebound after this transition. A 2017 study measuring cognitive performance revealed that postmenopausal women's scores went back up. April 11th. The Artemis crew, positioned over the lunar surface dark side, could see with their eyes what the most advanced cameras cannot. Color. Greens and browns. The moon is not an old gray hag. She still has green in her cheeks. In 2024, the Center for Whale Research published a study summarizing decades of research observing 5 species of toothed whales, the only other mammals besides humans who live past menopause. Killer whales, false killer whales, short-finned pilot whales, narwhals, and belugas. And here I ponder the fact that of all the creatures on Earth, the one most like us in this respect has teeth. She is not to be toyed with. What they revealed in this study: while male killer whales usually die in their 30s, grandmothers stop reproducing at that age and live well into their 80s. They determine age by counting the rings in their teeth, like trees. Killer whale pods are matriarchal. Grandmothers lead their pods to feeding grounds. They are repositories of ecological knowledge. Sharon Olds, at the conclusion of her poem 49 and a Half, describes her next self as a scrawny, avid, slightly bearded creature, the one past bearing, the human gone out upon its longest thread. Her description evokes both a mythological hag outlasting the threads of most human life, but also a spider whose thread is pulled from her abdomen as she weaves. In several indigenous American traditions, Cherokee, Diné, Keres, and Pueblo, Spider Woman is the grandmother goddess who brings the light. She is the origin of the corn that sustains her people. On her back is a four-direction symbol indicating her omnipresence. She was in the beginning, but existed before the beginning, before light or dark, hot or cold, rain or thunder. But her other name is Thinking Woman. As Paula Allen, ethnographer and descendant of a medicine woman of the Keres tribe, describes, Spider grandmother is weaver and thinker. She thinks, therefore we are. Her power is the power of thought, but not the kind of thought people do all the time. It's like the power of dream, but more pure, like the spirit of vision, but more clear. Like the orcas who retain the archive of knowledge and lead their pods to feeding grounds, it is Grandmother Spider, the one upon her longest thread, whose thoughts guide her tribe. She is the source of pure knowledge. April, ? When did I write this? Was it the wiser woman in me? To weather this change and stay afloat is to embrace the practices that have helped me survive my life thus far, is to take the time to listen to the universe as a poet, as a spiritual seeker. These things are braided together like a lifeline, like a thread or a rope.
Well, I don't know about the other females, but I'm really looking forward to that. Just saying. Our next speaker won't have to wait a little longer than I do before she gets to experience menopause. But she does get to come up here, Miss Miriam. I probably should have asked you how to say your last name.
Trying.
Miano?
Yes.
Yes, awesome. Is going to give us introduction.
Hello, everybody. My name's Miriam, and I'm a visual artist. I got stuff set up back there that aligns with what I have to say. We're on the topic of identity stolen right now, and I did a painting on the subject and about my experience with identity stolen. We all have that experience, whether you're really aware of it or not. It could be a parent or a teacher or an employer, but the institutions that make us who we are as a society, they shape us in a way that's not completely natural to all of us, because we're individuals that are all completely different, and there's no one size fits all for us. So when that happens, especially for high masking individuals, if you don't know what masking is, it's behaving how you think you're supposed to, and basically that creates a cage for yourself and for your emotions that affects you even in spaces where there's not a certain way to behave. So I have that identity and maturity go hand in hand, because in adolescence we have a lot of preferences, but in the vast adult world of endless possibilities, we really don't know ourselves as well as we think we do. There's a lot to experience, and you don't know how you're going to face that when it comes to be time. The rule books and the guidelines, like I said, they're not one size fits all, and being proud of who you are begins with deciding who you are. So all of us have wildly different experiences. You don't know how anybody grew up, what their houses were like, what their lives have been like, and the world needs your truth and your gifts, and it's up to you to embrace that and to project it. I've been around for 25 years now, and I'm still a student, and I've changed my major 5 times. So I'm finally on the path to graduation. I know what I want to do, but you're allowed to make decisions. You have to make decisions for yourself. And in all of those decisions, you're going to come to different understandings. You're going to find out what you like and what you don't like, which in ways you would never have experienced. It's just natural that you're going, as you grow and develop, you will develop your identity, and knowing who you are and projecting that regardless of what people tell you about yourself is going to be good for the world. And that transitions us into the next topic. I don't know if you had a little in-betweener. Yeah. But the next topic is, I'm going to let her speak, but it's fighting the darkness. And by embracing your identity, that's part of it.
So she already kind of introduced the next phase. The next chapter in the book is called Fighting the Darkness. That one I actually did get right. In the recovery world, the second stage of recovery is known as life is limited. And this is that place in your life where all of a sudden you were achieving and you were working towards these things, and then you get this diagnosis or you sustain a life-altering injury, and you're no longer who you thought you were, and people start telling you that, yeah, we get it, you can't continue the path you were on, or you have to learn to adapt, but that takes time and it takes energy, and sometimes you find yourself fighting the darkness. So without further ado, we're going to welcome Miss Miriam back up so she can share a little more.
So, fighting the darkness is a really big challenge that you'll face your entire life, whether it's transitioning between a big thing happening or, like I said, the parent, the boss, the teacher who tells you about yourself. And you have to fight against that and know who you are to be able to do that. And my piece on fighting the darkness back there, there's literal darkness, and I fight the darkness with light and color. And the boxes that society puts us in, like the one-size-fits-all system, I see the box, like a closed box, there's no light, and that's the metaphorical darkness that I'm talking about. And being who you are means stepping out of that box and away from the expectations into the reality, which is that we're all completely, utterly different. And by embracing each other's differences and getting comfortable saying no thanks, my piece is called No Thanks. We have to be polite, but you can say no because not everything is going to be for you. And when you radiate what you want to see into the world, that's going to come back to you. And negativity only feeds that darkness. So fighting the good fight has to come from within. You have to be what you want to see. And you have to show people who are telling you who you are what you can do, regardless of what they have to say or what their beliefs are, because being the example is going to change the perception. And you can't expect yourself from others, but you will find community that will embrace you as who you are.
Thank you, Miriam. The next piece we have is from Elizabeth Garcia. The Golden Gate Bridge Committee finishes the Suicide Deterrent System 2023. For me, this is actually what fighting the darkness is. It's that place in my time where I struggled with suicidality and self-harm. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome up Miss Elizabeth Garcia.
So you'll have to bear with me. This is kind of an experimental piece. Let me test this really quickly.
The suicide deterrent system, also known as the safety...
Can everyone hear that? Okay. A little closer to the mic? Yeah. Okay, I can also turn it up. Actually, no, that's up a lot. Okay. So, I'll have to restart that. This is about my husband who experiences mental health challenges. He's been very open with me and with our kids about his struggles. And it's also about how I, as his wife, try to be a support for him, and then also realizing that what if I'm not the best person at that? Because what we've learned is that the way that I deal with my stress is to vent, and that triggers him. So over the 17 years we've been married, we've really worked on how do we improve that dynamic. But when I was reading about, I saw on the news that the Golden Gate Bridge had built this suicide deterrent system. And I was reading about it, and I was just really struck by the language. There's this tension of language, it's kind of very official language, but also the metaphor of the Golden Gate Bridge as suicidal ideation is one of the most famous places where people jump off. And so I explored this it's a footnote poem. So there's the documentary voice, and then the footnotes are kind of the lyric personal aspect to it. And so the only way I thought of performing this is I recorded this documentary voice, and then I'm going to have to stop and start to read the footnote portions. So there's a tension there between the different language that we have around suicidal ideation, mental health. And then the other thing you might need to know is the color. There's an official color of the Golden Gate Bridge. It's called International Orange. That's the name of the color. So, International Orange. The Golden Gate Bridge Committee finishes the Suicide Deterrent System 2023 with lines from the Golden Gate Bridge Highway and Transportation District website and the 1978 Richard Seiden study, Where Are They Now? A follow-up study of suicide attempters from the Golden Gate Bridge. Let me get this right.
The suicide deterrent system, also known as the safety net, is being constructed to keep people from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
And here you are again at the edge, finding the wind convincing.
The safety net will be a hard metal platform 2 stories below the sidewalk.
How many stories are below you? How many times have you walked away?
Which will include netting along the length of both sides of the bridge, further increasing wind resistance.
Remember our island, our saltwater pool?
The solution is called the wind retrofit. It is essential for the completion of the suicide deterrent system.
When we vowed to put the love back in beloved.
In the spring of 2020, the district became aware of sound
Can you hear the sound I make?
coming from the Golden Gate Bridge during high winds.
When a chasm opens up between us?
The bridge emits a shrill, screeching sound during storms.
Do you believe it's what I'd make?
The project is also essential for the completion of the suicide deterrent system.
If I lost you?
The first sound is a low-pitched tone,
The term is vortex shedding.
present when wind passes through the railing from above.
I am singing the song of myself,
The solution is called the wind retrofit.
and you are dreaming of the cold water.
It is essential for the completion of the suicide deterrent system.
It says, I will be your beloved, your dear oblivion.
The second tone is higher pitched, present when certain high winds pass through the railing at an angle.
It's the sound I make to stave off dark.
The solution calls for the installation of thin U-shaped clips
Remember El Nido, our little nest?
attached to both edges of all 12,000 vertical slats.
The day you asked for my hand, my father warned.
The safety net will be a hard metal platform 2 stories below the sidewalk.
I'd be the mouth, the death of you.
The solution is called the wind retrofit. It is essential for the completion of the suicide deterrent system.
You are dreaming of the cold water, and I am keening in the wind.
The U-shaped clips work to reduce or eliminate sounds
In 1978, he wrote, You will remember how I taught you.
by lightly disrupting the flow of air, minimizing the creation of small vibrations. vibrations in the air.
To obey your dad, how I tried to teach you.
The proposed solution was shown to reduce those sounds
To listen to your husband when that day arrives.
by 75% compared to railing without the solution installed.
The term is vortex shedding. It's the sound I make
Tones may still be audible
when I think of disappearing.
at the bridge during rare instances of very specific and severe wind conditions.
And in this poem, you have disappeared.
From 1937 to 1978,
Here is a riddle. I was born in 1937.
there have been 625 officially reported suicide deaths.
How can I be the same age as my father?
The true number of persons who have leaped to their deaths from this bridge
I am the bridge.
is even higher since darkness, rain, fog, and a swift ocean-bound current
Driving you to dark ideations.
may have concealed from us more than 200 additional suicides.
And in this poem, you have disappeared.
The popular mythology holds that one is gently swallowed by the waves to die by drowning.
You are dreaming of the cold water. And in this poem, you have disappeared.
The solution is called the wind retrofit.
Here is a riddle. Below us is a safety net.
It is essential for the completion of the suicide deterrent system.
Who is it?
Jumping into the net will result in bruises, sprains, and broken bones.
But I have heard of animals below us who can save you.
The wind retrofit is necessary to ensure that the structural integrity of the bridge
Who know something about living,
is not jeopardized during high winds.
whom you will also mistake for teeth,
The proposed solution
who by circling can create a vortex,
was shown to reduce those sounds by 75%.
can push you to the surface of yourself.
Compared to railing without the solution installed.
Tell me how to be the sea lion,
The solution is called the wind retrofit.
if I am the bridge.
It is essential for the completion
Tell me how to be
of the suicide deterrent system.
another color than orange.
Our next speaker is a amazing poet by the name of Deanna Repose Oaks, and she will be performing Broken, which if I remember correctly is 13 pieces put together.
Thanks, guys. Hello, everybody. My name is Deanna Repose Oaks, and I am a poet. I say that so I know my identity. Piece I'm going to perform for you today is Broken 1 through 13. I'm going to tell you where the breaks are with the time that I wrote them. Here goes nothing. Broken 1, 10:11 a.m. If you looked close enough, no one ever does, you'd see me listing like a boat taking on ballast, just a bit of extra in the bilge that shifts from one side or the other depending on the currents, the waves, the horizon. I'm still sailing, floating, cruising along. After all, I'm only listing. There's no fear of sinking until the deck is underwater, spiraling through the ocean floor next to the Titanic. Broken 2, 10:37 a.m. I handed you a microscope, then a telescope, so you can view the near and far, the smallest atom and the brightest star. Yet you put them aside, they collected dust, because you didn't think they must. Apply to your worldview, only concerned yourself with you. I'm left out in the bitter cold, waiting for help, getting old. Trying as I might and getting attention, jumping in and out of your field of vision, nothing works. Here I am with a broken heart and an empty hand. 3, 10:47 a.m. My TV used to scream, "Help, I'm fallen and I can't get up." I feel it should be my new theme song, but just like me in my 20s, you see me too young to pay attention, no matter how many 2-minute commercials I buy. Here I am on the floor, visibly hurt, screaming, you glance my way. See the boy who cried wolf, while I'm the girl with CPTSD. Broken 4, 11:09 a.m. The in crowd was never my thing. Too demanding, too much bling. I'm okay standing on the outside. Truly, I can confide in the friends I call true. But when I get blue, the streets become the gutter. My voice becomes a mutter. No one knows the pain I'm in, for I can't express from within, only with words written on paper, words no one reads until later. After I'm already back on my feet, smiling from my place on the street. 5, 11:31 a.m. I'm excluded by so much, by so many. I do my best to avoid exclusions, but I do have my limits. Liars, cheaters, manipulators are out. Everyone else is in. The person excluded by norms is my favorite to include, for they know my pain, and they include me because I include them. Broken 6, 12 p.m. I was wrong this time. There wasn't a reason or a rhyme. Last night I was just forgotten. You're not mean or rotten. I just jumped to conclusions, feeling I'm always dealing with exclusions. This isn't who I am, not really. You caught me feeling, reeling, and my knee-jerk reaction is learned behavior, fear with traction. Please forgive me this time and next, because I'm a broken mess. 7, 12:16 p.m. We used to play a game, 52 card pickup. I was the only one picking up the last cards. I picked up even after others left, for I couldn't stand the mess. Others just step on over, for the mess is too hard to pick up. But they're only cards. Diamonds, spades, hearts, clubs, numbers 2 to 10, kings, queens, jacks, aces. Jokers are always left in the box. I'm still the last one left, even when I'm picking myself up. Broken 8, 12:23 p.m. Standing at the bus stop, waiting for my bus ride, made sure I was on time. Other buses, punctual, stopped to tell me the bus was late, so I stay at the stop. I know the bus is coming, so I wait. Too late, I realize I'm here too long, and the bus won't stop. Where my life will blow up, so now I walk on my own to salvage what I can. 12:30 p.m. The teacup shattered in a million pieces as I spilled the tea. I didn't mean to break the cup, just trying to be me. Now the vessel is useless and will always be, because there are missing pieces. The cracks won't seal to hold the tea. 10, 12:41 p.m. Longing for a ghost, echoes from books read long ago, seeking visions of grandeur, reaching for something not there, whispers of a future I desire, wanting, 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 never being. 11, 2:14 p.m. Because, my favorite way to start an answer for the why, intent of excluding, leaving, rejecting, should be answered in no uncertain terms. Knowing creates overcoming, overcoming begets greatness, overcoming all we want. Greatness is all we deserve. Broken 12, 2:23 p.m. I was shut down violently, like the light pole after a lightning strike, exploding from a point of contact, sparks everywhere, shards of wood, glass, metal, ripples of sound, waves of electricity, leaving behind a wake of darkness, all-consuming, terrifying, and yet peaceful in the silence. I still jump at the sonic boom, but relax in the aftermath. 13, 2:58 p.m. I can't count the number of times I've circled the drain. Am I headed for the rim or the pipe to the sewer? I ask and refrain. I just want my outlook clean, my view newer, for the fight I'm fighting is within myself. I can't run away or put it on a shelf. With this sink the way it is, I don't know if I'm in or out, so I ask for your help. Thanks for clearing my doubt. Thank you. Those 13 poems was me reacting to one situation. So thank you. Oh, and broken number 9 is painted on the table back there.
Thank you, Fiona. So the next chapter and phase is the finding hope or spark of hope or recognizing that change is possible. So you're slowly starting to come out of that dark place and recognize that life can get better. But it doesn't necessarily make it all sunshine and puppies, because that's not reality. So our first speaker for today for the Spark of Hope is Mr. Lamar Baker with Underneath the Tree.
Hello everyone, my name is T. Lamar Baker. It's my writer name. I am a writer, poet, and published author. Underneath the Tree is my third book. And what that is an anthology of the human emotion, a journey through the human experience. How did I come to that place? Hope. Hope brought me to that part. It brought me to that part of my life. It all began as a young boy. Yes, there was a real tree, an actual tree, that I went to as a young boy. Underneath that tree, I used to bury my secrets. I would find anything I could in the way of a tin. A Prince Albert can, a little pill box from my grandma, whatever I could find. I would write little notes and I'd put them in that box. And I'd bury it underneath that tree. Fast forward, I went through that journey of child abuse and abandonment just to find myself as a homeless teenager at age 15. Working 40 hours a week in a cotton mill, all while going to school, high school, 40 hours a week, every week. I graduated, 1973. Yeah, I'm old. I'm about to take my 71st trip around the sun. And in doing so, I look back. How do I find hope? So, Underneath the Tree is an anthology because life is an anthology. There are no chapters. If you think about finding hope, our journeys are like a tide. Good, bad, indifferent, horrible, good, joyous. They all wash onto the shore, only to recede back into the ocean of life. That's where you find the hope. The ocean is not as big as you think it is when you encircle yourself in just a small bubble of it. So, when I went through the fire department, had a long career in DeKalb County Fire Rescue, I saw torment and loss in the signs of people in their faces when they lost everything they had. When a loved one passed away, they did not have a hope in the world until someone took them by the hand and said, I'm here with you. As I went on to begin my writing journey, my first book was called The Heart of a Firefighter, and in that I invited the public into a very private world that firefighters don't want people to know how vulnerable we are. And we are. We're not what you see on TV, because that's all nonsense, Hollywood nonsense. Hope is when you see a big, strong firefighter in a corner at 3 in the morning, and you wake up to walk past him and he's in the fetal position crying his eyes out because he just zipped up a body bag with a baby in it. How does he find hope? He looks to us, his fellow firefighters, to help him get through that. And back then, we didn't have things like NAMI. We didn't have that outlet to reach out to. So we didn't have that hope that this wonderful organization brings about to everyone, especially in public safety. So then I became an emergency manager at Fulton County Schools, still there today. I don't know when to stop working. So now I started out in the classroom with special ed and autism. The teachers, some of the teachers, they don't want those kids in their classroom. They just want the gen ed students, and they just don't want to be bothered. I found joy. I found hope in those children because through them I saw myself reaching out and finding that spark of hope. And they became my little angels. And so as we go through this thing we call life, this journey, and that's all it is, it's a journey. Look for that spark of hope. Ask yourself when it comes to, when you find that dark place and you don't know where to find that hope, ask yourself, what's your anthology? What are you looking for? The answer oftentimes not only lies within yourself, because there's more there than you can possibly imagine, but it's also by reaching out for help, because help is there. You don't have to do this yourself. Find yourself by finding others to help you through this journey. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing, and congratulations on surviving this long. I'm not entirely being sarcastic. I truly believe every birthday should be celebrated. Next, we have Miss Miriam Miano with Just Keep Swimming.
Hello again. So, out of all my pieces back there, Just Keep Swimming is the last one, and it has all these little fish under the sea, and like fish in the little Just Keep Swimming phrase, that's what they were made to do. That's all really that they do. And as people, we are really made to do anything. So the way that they have to just keep swimming every day that we wake up is a privilege to just keep doing whatever it is that you would like to do, because you can do anything. So what I have is, like I said about the fish, they are just born to swim, and we could be like them by continuing every day to do what we learn about ourselves. Like, it's up to you really to discover what it is for you to do, to put your gifts out into the world. But my spark of hope is reignited each and every day that I wake up and I have the opportunity to be myself and to project that and to find others like me and to make other people happy and hopeful with what I have to share.
Thank you, Miriam. Now for our last prepared speaker, we have Miss Elizabeth Garcia again. Please forgive me. Abecedarian of things to do while you're waiting to feel. Come on.
This one's short. So an abecedarian is a poem in which the beginning of each line is a different letter of the alphabet in order. And this also, the title of this runs into the first line, so it completes the sentence. Abecedarian of things to do while you're waiting to feel better. Blink. Clean the sink. Scrub it down to its first shining self. Believe even objects have some inner light, the way last night the moon, foraging in your mulch, became the armadillo. Give yourself time, measured in half-lives, a promise the sky will one day recall its color. Consider, joy could, any day now, astonish you. A blue kite has bloomed in your loblolly. Go on the long walk so the mailbox can remind you your name belongs to you. Notice headless stems of roses, signs of deer. They too must open their mouths, chew, and swallow. Though every movement is a portage, every act an act, question the grasp of the landscape. Last spring, pink returned. Trust in a task the way you honor every odd screw, sort them in a drawer, thinking one day they will have a use. Unclose your eyes to the view of the low valley, its pull to descend, then write the words to depict it. See, you have made it already to another line, like the one at every zoo to view the tiger, and any minute now, an orange stripe.
Thank you. See, no sunshine or puppies, just saying. We are going to take a short intermission/break and give anybody who's here an opportunity if you would like to come up and share a few words. We ask you to try to keep it to around a minute, 2 minutes tops while we set up for our panel. And I would also like to ask Dr. Words are hard, Gino Birch, our title sponsor with, this is why I write it, Family First Chiropractic here in Kennesaw, to come up and share a few words, and then we'll open it up for our open mic.
You know, they say people on the spectrum have problems reading the room, right? I think we can all read the room today and how heavy this could be on some of us, right? And as you learn some of this stuff, the weight that's lifted, you can also feel that heaviness leave the room sometimes, right? And art is not necessarily something that I've done in the past, right? But if I think back, you know who my first therapist was? It was Bob Ross. When I came home as that latchkey kid and no one else was home, he was the guy telling me that I could do it. He was the one telling me. In fact, he was probably my first therapist. I wasn't an art kid, but I watched that guy every day, right? Because of the way he spoke and the words that he said. Words are hard. I never heard encouraging words. And to hear them then, I only realize now how important they are. You talked about crying. I cry every day these days. I cry often. Most of them are happy tears. You know, fellas, the women who cry, they're going through their emotions in the moment, and then they move on. We just keep carrying that stuff around, right? Either put that bag down and unpack it, or leave it behind, right? You know, last minute's not good for me. And this morning I text Heather, I like ate something, I go, what time you want me to be there? And at 9:08, she's like, you know, if you can arrive around 10 to set up your table, people will be getting here at 11, and I'm like, set up my table? Understand the craziness that went through my head as I was trying to put this together and get here by 11, and then I was set up. And as I'm grabbing things I didn't understand why I was grabbing them, right? But I'm Batman. What if Batman was my first mask? I got my helmet over there. I got 10 to 12 concussions on my resume. But what if that mask was I was trying to protect myself? Even that doctor's coat over there is a mask. I'm showing you guys someone who most people haven't seen. A man without a mask. Words are hard. I'm Dr. Gino, I'm a chiropractor. I can help you.
Thank you, Dr. Gino. I swore that I sent you the email with all the information, and if I didn't...
You probably did.
Executive function is fun. I also want to take a quick moment and thank our other sponsors, Desktop Co-working, who has been instrumental in helping me get things done and occasionally pretend to understand business. I'd like to also thank our other supporting sponsor, Pickering Support Services, who unfortunately was not able to be here today. She had another engagement she had to take care of. And we have a last-minute community partner, Miss Allison Jancic. Although I think technically you're Dr. Allison Jancic because you're a chiropractor too. And if I said your name wrong, you can beat me up later. You're not supposed to clap at getting beat up. Just saying. We're going to go ahead and start setting up for our panel, but if you would like to come up and share a few words, you are welcome to. There are also our community art projects back there. The puzzle that is already glued together, those are pieces that were put together from last year at our events, and I put them all together. We are going to continue building this puzzle until it fits a full foam board, then we'll glue to the foam board and hang it up and start a new one. We also have the rocks. You are welcome to take your art with you. If you leave it, it becomes part of the community art projects, and those rocks will be sealed and put into the community rock garden at Desktop in the local dough. So please have fun, look at art, speak, do words. I don't want to discourage you from looking at art, but I also want to make sure that we have time for the panel. So if you guys can all start coming back towards your seats, we're going to go ahead and get started. I have a few prepared questions that I sent to them ahead of time because I'm nicer than certain moderators I know. And we're going to start with a couple of those. But if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask, please let me know. I will bring the microphone to you because this is being recorded. And we want people to hear you, not only in this room, but on the video. So just raise your hand and I will come to you. But for now, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to start with your work and your inspiration. Each of you represents a different stage of our program. And you are seated in the order of the occurrence. So, one at a time, can you briefly describe the work you shared today and how it connects to that specific theme? And we'll go ahead and start with Karen because it just makes sense.
Okay. Am I on? I don't hear it. Okay. Thank you so much for having me here today. I think I kind of explained that in my talk, but this is me getting out on paper, and that's my process, or on canvas. I have things that spin around in my head, and they'll keep spinning there until I get it here. And then I can look at it, and I will say often, I paint a lot of women. I paint a lot of powerful women, because throughout history, that's not been the case. I think there's thousands of more men been painted throughout history than women. So I'm trying to make up for that. But sometimes what I paint, I'll sit it in front of me and ask it what it wants to tell me. It's almost like I was just sharing that I record my dreams and listen for the messages. So it's kind of like that. Like when I get my expression out, it tells me who I am, and it tells me what I need to be aware of and what I need to stop blocking in my life. So this one brought me back to age 24 when I had my first child, because recently I was in pelvic floor therapy and had an exam, and the lady said, "Honey, I think you have a husband stitch." Like, what the heck is that? You can look it up. It's such a thing. It's all about the man, but it's my body. And so I went back to that time and thought, who was I then? Why would I allow a doctor to do something to me without him asking first? And now I'm having health issues because of it. He's dead and gone. I'm dealing with the thing that he wanted in my body. And so it was really traumatic for to find out that, because I never knew anything about it. But at the time, I probably would have said, do whatever's good for my husband, because that's who I was. And I'm no longer that now. I put myself first and nurture myself, and I'm happy for what she has to teach me.
So my poetry is my therapy. I don't know how I'm feeling until I write it down in a poem, and sometimes even then I'm confused because the words just come out. As demonstrated in my poem, I was reacting to one situation where I felt like I was I was an other person and excluded from something, and it was a misunderstanding on my part, but it still didn't stop the spiral. And the spiral got out of control, and somebody said, hey, write 13 poems and you'll figure out what you were talking about. And that's what happened. So the piece I performed today was part of my book called The Order of Chaos. It's back there if you want to take a look at it or buy it. It kind of helps me to fight all the overwhelming emotions. It funnels right into the words, and they run into rhymes, and they're very, I feel, approachable by other people, so that other people can see how I'm fighting my darkness in real time with real words and real feelings, so that when they're doing the same, they can help with themselves by seeing somebody else has survived.
So what brought me to this point? How did I get here? I sort of touched on it earlier. Someone says, how do you write a book about finding hope? Which that's really what it's all about. I have no idea. I don't do outlines because my life never had one. So I don't outline a book before I write it. And this being book number 3, I just sat down, I turn all the lights off, turn on this certain music, and I sit down in front of the keyboard, close my eyes, I hear the words in my head, and I throw the words up on the keyboard. And that's kind of like how it comes. And I do use life experiences not only of myself, but from other people that I have known who have touched me throughout my life. And one of the people who really touched me the most was, it wasn't a grandfather, wasn't a dad. It was someone who I met through my work as a firefighter. It was my very first captain on my very first day in the fire station. And I got there like 2 hours early because I didn't want to be late. And so he took me in because he got there early too. And we went inside. He said, and my name was Rookie, right? That's your name. You don't have a name. Until you reach a certain point, your name is Rookie. And that was okay. And he sat down and he looked at me, and the first thing out of his mouth he said to me, Rookie, we don't have emergencies. People do. Instantly I got it. It's like a light bulb went on in my head. And throughout my life, that was my guiding force. From my first day as a rookie until now, I don't have emergencies. People do.
Thank you, guys. For the sake of time, we're going to skip a couple of these questions, and I gave them to you ahead of time. I won't go out of order. But I want to skip down to the message to others. And you can all answer, or if whoever wants to, whatever order. But what message do you hope your work conveys to those in our audience here, as well as our audience who will be watching this later, who might be experiencing some similar challenges? So what do you hope that your work, and I'm going to go ahead and throw this out to some of the visual artists. If any of you want to share the answer with this as well, just let them answer first, and then I'll bring the microphone to you. Just raise your hand, okay?
I paint for myself. I don't really paint for anybody else. But I'm hoping that when I paint, I hear the message, you need to show it. Don't leave it in your house. It's not just for you. So I have to follow that guidance. And my hope is that someone will see the spark of hope from what I've been through. And if they've been through it, that they can realize that they can heal, or they can get into recovery, or ask for help. There's a painting in the back called, what's the name of it? I forget. It's the girl with the seed coming out of the heart is called Broken Open. So I've had a lot of broken hearts. And every one of them, I can look back and see how it opened my heart just a little bit. And so in the painting, the heart that she's looking back on in her past is cracked, but out of that crack is coming a sprout. So a seed of hope is planted. So that's what I hope people can see, that you can survive and then you can go on to thrive through my art.
So I hope that my work conveys the message that I'm still here, even though I have overwhelming chaos, and you can be too. I've got 2 collections right now. Like, one was Don't Go Stay, which is my year of suicidal ideation and how I got over that. And this one was my chaos, because I'm all over the place emotionally wise, because of all the dark thoughts that have been just circling. I actually had something happen this morning where I didn't think I was going to make it here. But I'm here and I'm surviving, and I've shared with you all now all of my emotions. So hopefully you'll see me and know that you can get through it and you can be here too.
So I think that what I want people to get out of my work, especially my newest book, is that it speaks mostly to someone younger than me, because I've been there, right? I've kind of been there and done that. But for the younger people, you haven't kind of gotten to certain intersections in your life yet. And so my goal is to, when you reach an intersection, and you're going to come to them, they're going to come. You got to make a choice. The choice is to walk out of the darkness toward the light. That's the theme throughout the whole thing. And if you can find that hope and find that light and walk toward that light, and if you choose the right path, it's not going to be a light of an oncoming train. It's going to be the light of hope. And so, but really, I just want people to understand that they matter and their words matter.
Do any of our visual artists want to share? You don't have to. I'm not going to put you on the spot.
It's Miriam again. My hope with my art, words are hard, so I have multiple goals, I'd say. The most advantageous one is kind of like a Dr. Seuss kind of Disney situation. There are lots of years, so we'll see where that goes. But I like creating in general, and I have so many ideas that are entertaining for a lot of people. Like, every time that I create, it brings joy. So I would like to just create a larger body of work that can be a positive thing in the world. And then another use of my art is, while words are hard, I can't always explain an idea, but I'm a visual learner, and other people can possibly, see what it is that I'm trying to explain, rather than have to write it out in a way that might not be understandable to other people.
Anybody else? I'm not going to put you on the spot, but if you're interested, going once, going thrice. Okay, cool. I want to go ahead and share a little bit about my own, because the heart behind this whole thing is that long before I was comfortable talking to people, and for anyone who's known me long enough, you realize just how much I didn't want to talk to anybody. But I found my voice through art. And then found Toastmasters, and now you can't get me to shut up, at least if I'm in front of people. Don't ask one-on-one, because it's not going to happen, because it's harder. But art gives me an avenue. And one of the beautiful things about art is you don't have to be someone who's going to go and display work in the Lou or the High Museum. You don't have to be someone who's going to get up on a stage. Art is a personal expression of who you are. And your refrigerator at home is perfectly acceptable as a gallery. Just think about when you were little, all your little scribbles would up on the... Why can't we do that as adults? So with that, we're going to wrap up with one final question, if I can find it again. And honestly, if anybody would like to answer this afterwards, we would love to get some testimonial videos to kind of share, because this is the community impact question. How do you feel events like Words Are Hard are important for our community?
First of all, there's not many places in our world that you can share these things. I think it's important to open up your soul and allow yourself to be vulnerable. And there's not many safe places that you can do that. Our environment teaches us to put on your mask and perform, and they applaud being who they want you to be. So this is like a breath of fresh air, and it's very important for all of us to have this community.
Events like Words Are Hard are important to the community because they shed light on the various ways in which humans communicate. Not all communication is verbal or linear or proper. It helps me to give grace to people who interact with me in the world, helps me to understand that I might not get the grace because people may not recognize my struggle with communication. My defense mechanism is sarcastic dry wit, delivered with an indication of sarcasm. Also, only know that I am what I am feeling when I write a poem. Without events like this, I won't be able to share my poetry, and I won't be able to communicate how I'm feeling to other people and help them survive.
Words like this, places like this, events like this, they're not just important just to get the word out about work, about people's work, about finding answers. I think sometimes that my purpose that I've found really, I don't know what's the right word here, because words are hard, right? Profound. I found this event to be very profound because events like this can create an atmosphere where if just one person walks through that door and finds hope or finds answers or finds what they're looking for, the whole event was worth it.
So I got a text asking if there's time for one more question. So we're going to get one last question, but try to be brief so that we can move on, because technically we're past time.
Hi, my name is Akela, and this goes to the artists that are in the room that presented such artwork. These are phenomenal artworks, and I know when you did them, you did it with a compassion, and I know it to you is extremely priceless. I totally understand that. But when you want to encourage other people, how do you put a price on it? Like, how do you come up with a thing to put a price on it? Because in an art gallery, I see the thousands of dollars, but to the human person that really wants it to touch it, they can't afford it. So how do you go about putting a price on your artwork that you're thinking about putting out?
I have no idea. That's always the dilemma. I need the money back for the materials and a little bit of time. I don't really want to gouge people. I want to share it. And when people, honestly, when people tell me they want to buy it, I feel like it was meant for them. Like part of my soul, it was hard to sell the first painting because it's my soul is on that painting. Are you an artist?
Yes.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. It was hard to let it go, but then, like I said, sometimes I get these messages, I don't know who they're from, but they're like, you need to get out there and share it's meaningful to other people. And as long as I feel like my time and my energy and my materials are valued, I'm not going to make it too expensive. Does that help?
Make sure you're adding the value of what they're experiencing, though.
Yes.
You can never put a price tag on that, on what it does for them, where they go afterwards.
Yes.
So a lot of times we all devalue ourselves when we're actually making a bigger impact than we realize.
Yes.
So yes, your time is valuable, the materials are valuable, but don't forget the impact you're making. That's valuable too.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to ask Jennifer to bring up the stuff. If you haven't signed in yet and you want to be a part of the door prize, here is your last chance. Otherwise, Dr. Gina's going to come up here and draw them out. We have 2 door prizes over here on the table. One is a sketchbook with a really nice set of pencils. It also both of them include a free Unleash Your Artist class. And a $10 gift card for the local dough that they were kind enough to donate for us. The other one includes 4 flat canvas boards and a set of 30 acrylic paints with brushes. So if you haven't yet and you just decided, hey, I want that, make sure you get your name in here real quick.
I do take bribes if anyone.
So the sketchbook will be first. And this will go to Miss Allison Jensick. I'm serious, I did not make it up.
I take bribes and tips.
All right, this one will be for the acrylic paints. Okay, this is funny. Karen Thompson. That seems strangely appropriate.
Now, just because you didn't pay for them, you still got to add that into the value.
And so as we wrap this up, did you already give it to him, Jennifer?
On the chair.
Oh, yeah, my brain hurts. So, in order to keep this event free and open to the public, I have started getting sponsors to help pay for it because in the past it's all come out of my pocket. And without our title sponsor, it's really hard to cover the price of the venue, and this will actually cover Nick's event in September, which is a little less lighthearted as a suicide prevention panel. And with our title sponsor today, Mr. Doctor, Gino Birch, I would like you to come up here because we have something special for you. Okay, I didn't mean to make you cry. Maybe a little.
Understand this. You guys saw Inside Out, the movie?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that I have core memories in my office, and I have little things that people have given me and all the time. And recently someone who's been a patient for like 12 years was like, wow, that looks like the same one I gave you. And I'm like, that is the one you gave me. So this will go on the wall. This will go on the wall. And as a reminder, the words are hard, but when you care, they come kind of easy.
So I asked everybody that was here, and if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment to sign this, because the idea is to show the impact that you had by helping us put together this event and providing. Okay. I also want to thank our supporting sponsors once again, Desktop Co-working Space and Pickering Support Services, who help pay for some of the ancillary stuff, because you would be surprised how much little stuff. And if you helped me unload my car, there was a lot. And I also want to thank our community partner, because you help with things like printing, which adds up really quickly, especially when the printer goes haywire and you have to reprint over half of them. So we have a few minutes before we start officially breaking down. I want to encourage you to talk to the artist, talk to the other people in the room that are not named Heather. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little overloaded right now, but it's a good thing. This is a piece of my heart. If you would like more information, I will do my best, or I will address you to people who can answer on my behalf. So thank you everybody for coming. I hope you will join us again on September 19th for our Fighting the Darkness Fighting panel discussion on suicide prevention and awareness. And I want to thank Robbie for recording our event. The audio will be going on our podcast because the podcast will remain audio only, and the video will be available on YouTube hopefully by the end of the month. And I encourage you to share this with other people. If you have any other questions, I'm going to go ahead and stop, but you can come ask, and I might have answers.